Hello YouTube, I've decided to do a bit of a review and an unboxing etc. of this Klarstein Infra Red panel heater. It's a brand new thing for me. I've been researching it for probably over a year now, really trying to find a way at more cost-effective heating. With gas prices have gone up a lot as we speak. We're not actually on gas here anyway, but we pay a fortune for LPG bottles. So I'm wondering if electric IR heating could be a more effective way and possibly cheaper way to heat certain parts of the house. There's not a lot of information about these online, impartial information anyway. The manufacturers' websites themselves, of course, obviously rave about them. And generally, reviews I've seen left on certain websites speak quite highly of them. But at the same time, there is some feedback I've seen and some reviews on YouTube saying that they basically do nothing. So I'm very curious. I brought this first one as a trial. There's a few manufacturers out there. The main sort of industry leader seems to be a German company called Herschel. The quality of them seems to be the best out there, and they have very long warranties. But the price is very, very high. So each panel is hundreds of pounds for a decent size one. You're looking at even up to sort of £400 or £500, and some rooms might need 2 or 3 of them per room. So that's an enormous amount of money. So I've gone instead for Klarstein. I think I found them originally on Amazon, but I ordered this direct from their website, which was actually cheaper. This model was about £130, so not insignificant, but if it completely fails to do what it needs to do, at least I haven't invested a fortune in it. Anyway, enough rambling on. Let's get the box off and see what's inside. So I've just taken the lid off. I should also mention on Amazon and eBay and stuff, there are a lot of cheaper brands than this. I think this is kind of a mid-range brand. But I think you're taking a bit of a risk with the quality there. So I've gone for the middle of the range. So it looks like you've got a template to help. It looks like that's to mount it to a wall, to drill the holes to mount it onto the wall. There's a sheet of A3 paper with some words and some holes on it. A bit of packing material. That looks like just a general warranty leaflet with a small remote control. Nice to see you do get the screws and the raw plugs with it. That's quite handy. And the back of the heater itself. This is the 500 watt version. It's called the Wonderwall Air Smart Art because it's got a picture on the front of it, which I'll show you in a second. It's quite thin. I'd say that's about 15mm thick, and then there's a bit that sticks out on the back for a power pack, which looks to be in total about 50mm for the power pack. But before I flip it over, just a quick mention. I've seen this mentioned in a lot of reviews. It comes hardwired with an EU plug, and they seem to supply this 3-pin adapter. What I'm planning on doing, and you're probably not supposed to do this health and safety or electrical regs wise, but test it out with an extension lead first for a few days, just so I can see if it's any good. And then if I decide to keep it, go ahead with it, I'll get an electrician to install it properly. And I imagine that will involve hardwiring this cable into the house circuit. And here you go. This is the front of it. I think it looks really good. I'm not going to take the plastic off all the way, sorry, because I'm about to repackage it. But it's quite a nice matte finish. I think you could be forgiven from not far away that it looks like just a genuine picture. I've got to decide when I do mount it on the wall. I guess I'll cut out a section in the plasterboard for that power pack so it sits quite flush. And I do hear, generally speaking, these heaters are better off coming from the top downwards because they heat the ground, which the ground then kind of absorbs the heat. And also you've got it above your head to heat you. This is going to be on the wall, so I'm thinking possibly angle it slightly, ever so slightly, forwards at the top, so it kind of comes diagonally forwards and down a bit. But we'll see how that goes. So apart from the picture at the front, it was quite light to pick up. We've got this power pack module, as I described earlier. It seems to have a few buttons on the small display. It looks like timer, heat. It's got a Wi-Fi button. got a small Wi-Fi antenna at the bottom, which it's sitting on. I'll just take it off that. Apart from that, there's not much else to it. So I'm going to try it out now for a bit, see what effect it has. I did the calculations on the Herschel website for the amount of these heaters I'd need for the bathroom. And because it's kind of an outside-ish room and there's some big windows, it actually recommended, I think, it was about 1200, maybe more, 12 to 1600 watts of heating for that room. And this is only a 500 watts, so this is much smaller than the Herschel website said. So this may not be able to heat the whole room by itself. But anyway, let's cut away and then I'll give you a bit of feedback on how it's got on. So now it's fully unwrapped. I've just supported it on a few blocks of foam that came with it to protect the little antenna that sticks out underneath. Initial impressions are really impressed with it. The quality of the picture, which the colours might look a bit off because of the lighting in here, but it's really nice. It almost looks like a proper painting, the effect. And I don't know if you can tell by the video, and whether they've done it on purpose or not, but it almost looks like actual oil painting on it. Like the textures are slightly different for the sun in the painting and the brush strokes there. It's not proper oil, obviously, it's printed on somehow, but yeah, very nice indeed. So I switched it on. This isn't a proper test of it. It's not a particularly cold day today. It's just a kind of an initial view. I'm going to do a proper review probably in about a month's time. Just a quick look at the panel behind it. It's got a few buttons and a little digital display. It's got power, Wi-Fi, plus and minus, which I think is temperature, timer, and a little red light, which I think shows up when it's emitting. And there's a proper power switch underneath, which you can just see the glow from it sticking out down there. So the temperature in this room, according to the main house thermostat, which is embedded in this, was 15.8 degrees when I switched it on. It's fairly late in the evening now, the sun's going down. This isn't a scientific test. It's possible the house is releasing a bit of warmth it's absorbed from the sun over the day, but equally likely with the sun going down, it's probably starting to get colder outside, so who knows. But the immediate effect of turning the power on, I was quite surprised that almost instantly you could start to feel some heat come out of it, especially within about an inch of the screen. And it's very warm within about an inch of the screen. You can really feel the rays on your hand. And out to about 6 inches, you can definitely feel like the heat emanating from it. And further out from that, it is like a kind of soft sunlight. I think how you feel this heat, it probably varies from person to person. My initial reaction standing about a metre away was I wasn't too sure if I could feel it or not. My wife walked in front of it straight away, said, yeah, I can definitely feel the heat from that. And now the thing's warmed up, now it's been on for about 45 minutes, yeah, I can definitely feel the heat on it. And I was quite surprised because the wattage of this heater, being a 500 watt, is less than a quarter of the size recommended by the Herschel website for a room this size. It's quite a large kitchen, it's not very well insulated, it's quite an old house. I was quite surprised that even though these things don't heat the air, they heat surfaces, the house thermostat went up from 5.8 degrees to 16.5 degrees within about half an hour to 40 minutes. And as I say, now I'm standing in front of it now, I can really feel the warmth. So initial impressions, very happy with it, especially as the price. The next step, I'm going to take it, install it in the bathroom and test it over. I want to see how it copes with kind of particularly cold days when it's down to 13, 12 degrees. The weather is warming up now, so we're going to get fewer of those days, but I'm hoping it works, and if it does, I plan to buy another one for the bathroom as well to get about 1,000 watts in total in the bathroom, which should be enough to heat that room long term. It's not heated at all at the moment. I've disconnected what was a conventional water-filled radiator connected to the central heating in there because that room loses so much heat through the walls. It's quite badly insulated. I was finding running a normal central heating radiator in there, I think it was losing more heat from the central heating system than it was kind of economical to put into that room, if it makes sense, meaning that the whole house was probably burning more gas as a result. So I'm very curious to see how these things cope. When I actually came into the room just before doing this video, the cat was actually sitting in front of it, I think using it to get warm, so she approves of it. And one other comment is on the thermostat side, there's a temperature readout on the side, as I pointed out before. You can't read it, but it says 21 degrees C at the moment. I think I've turned this up to about 23 just to test it. That is a fair bit colder than the room temperature, but as you probably know, these things don't heat the air, so I'm not sure exactly where that readout in there gets its temperature from. It's probably kind of the heat very close to the panel. So if you want your room to be warmed up to a temperature, you probably have to set the heater to a fair bit higher temperature, and that'll probably be a bit of trial and error, some fine tuning. And I do wonder if maybe it's kind of a bit exponential, that if you want to heat the room by air temperature, whatever, by 1 degree, maybe this has to go up by 3 degrees or something. I don't know. More of that in another video later. Initial impressions, as I said, very good. Quality of the picture is good. I think if I'm nitpicky, I have noticed a small spot in the corner where it looks like the thing's scratched off a bit. It's not a huge deal for me. Perhaps the packaging could be a bit better. The picture itself was only wrapped in this fun thin cellophane, which I think could be better. And I'm not going to test it, but I do wonder how resistant it is to scratching. I suspect not very resistant, but then you wouldn't normally be scratching it anyway. So that's all for now. Further update video probably in 4 to 6 weeks' time. Thanks for watching. See you next time.